On a beautiful day like this, I greet you students. We bless the name of God. Today we will be looking at your week 4 work as it is on your portal or as it has been sent to you in your scheme of work. That is, as you were sent in the scheme of work, how the work will go for the term. Talking about the climate of Nigeria. That's why we have this today. We need to have a recall of what we discussed in our last class, that is in our last video, talking about the relief and drainage of Nigeria. Areas of highland, areas of lowland, talking about rivers. We discussed about the two major rivers too, that is River Niger and River Benue. And also discussed about the meeting point, which is Lokoja, Kogi State, called the Confluence Town or Confluence City, and so many others. Today we shall be looking at climate of Nigeria. That's what we have today. We will also have a recall of what we discussed in our last term about climate weather. We said weather is atmospheric condition of a place for a brief period of time or a short period of time. Could be seconds, could be minutes. Then we said the climate is the weather average condition of a place for a long period of time, probably 35 years, 32 years, and as the case may be. While we want to go into the topic or the content of today's lesson, we need to, in our usual manner, view or share together the objectives for the lesson, talking about the learning objectives. That is, at the end of this lesson, students should be able to describe the climate variation in Nigeria. 2, discuss the types of climate in Nigeria. And 3, explain the seasons in Nigeria. Then we need to go to the content. Like I've said in our recap of, in our review of last term work, or flashback of what we discussed last term, I said climate is the average weather condition of a place over a long period of time. Then we also have some elements of climate. These are things we already have in our notes and we discussed last term. Just trying to go through them before we now go deep into what we have. They include the temperature, cloud, pressure, sunshine, rainfall, wind, and humidity. These are the elements of climate that we already know as we discussed last term. Then we need to look at factors that affect climate or factors affecting climate. Also, we recall that in our last time work, we talked about latitude and longitude too. And then we talked about continentality. I discussed with you what is called continentality. That is the farther the inland from the sea, the hotter it will become, and the less rainfall will also be get. That is, those places that are close to the sea, they are always colder than those that are far from the sea. That's the distance from the sea. We'll talk about the latitude and longitude. We'll talk about planetary wind, that is the wind that blows, the natural vegetation and soil. We'll talk about that. That those people that we talked about forests, I gave to you some examples. What we're discussing, natural vegetation and soil. That forest area always have colder temperature because the leaves of plants, they cut off the sunlight radiation that's supposed to touch the ground. We call it insolation. I remember I gave that to you in your exam as one of the questions. Insolation, the meaning of insolation. Then we'll talk about soil together with natural vegetation. Soil also affects climate. We said some soil, like the sandy one, we said they absorb heat more than the others. So they affect, and so they some throw light, the heat that comes from the up that touches the sun, some reflect them back, and so human beings around the or the temperature of the area become warm, while some absorb the heat, they do not reflect it back. That is about the soil. Then we talked about precipitation last time. We listed snow, the dew, the fog, the frost, and the mist. We talked about those things too. Then we need to look at rainfall distribution and types of rainfall. This is how it is. You will see here under 100 centimeter. This is per annum. You are seeing here. This is under, this place is, this one that look has a carpet. That is this one you are seeing here. In Jaws, that is what they see. Then between 100 centimeter and 200 centimeter is this very one. This is the symbol that you see to know the particular area. This one is talking about areas that are here. You see here, this is around southeast, some part of southwest, and even some area in south-south. Then 200 to 300 centimeter, that's this one you are seeing here. Then the last one is the one that has a cross, that is under here, mostly south-south and southwest. You are seeing Lagos outside there, that is over 300 centimeters. This is the rainfall distribution of Nigeria. Then these areas have names, like here you have Ibadan, Enugu is southeast here, you have Jos, that is north central, you have Kano, you have Maiduguri, northeast, Sokoto, northwest, and so many others as you are seeing here. Then we need to look at these types of rainfall. We have talked about the distribution. Let us look at the types of rainfall. One is conventional rainfall. This one occurs in the areas with very strong heat. When heat touches the area, the air becomes warm and then go up. And the relative humidity, we've also discussed relative humidity. You know, relative humidity rises too. Then the saturation, as this evaporation goes, the saturation of the water vapor makes the water vapor to condense with cloud being formed. That is how this conventional rainfall happens. This rainfall is associated with or carries thunder and lightning. Conventional rainfall, they have wind, strong wind with thunder and lightning that follow them. The rainfall shortly, usually afternoon time, just fall small, and then you just see that, just like you want to go out of your house, you see rain. After a while, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, there's no rain again. Not the one that will take the whole of the day. That is what we're talking about here. Then there's another type of rainfall, the orographic rainfall. Orographic rainfall. This one, just like the other one, the moist air is formed to rise above mountain. This one is associated with mountainous area. That is areas with mountain. You remember last week we discussed highland, we discussed mountain, and so on. So we have the types, the places we call the windward slope, and then the leeward slopes. The windward slopes are the areas that wind have direction with. Then the leeward slopes, they are the ones that have shelter backing the effect of the wind. That is why we call the leeward slope or side. So they are usually windward slope or windward mountainous rainfall. That's what we mean by this. The warm air resist, the warm air, they go up, they rise, and then they expand and become cooler. You remember we talked about normal lapse rate. The higher you go, the colder it becomes. While they go up, they become colder and they saturate, and then they condense with cloud. Then the rain begin to come down. You begin to experience it. Remember, after heating, they go up. The more they are going up, they are becoming colder. While they are going up, they are also saturating. That is, they come together and they become heavy, and that is the extent that the more the cloud will be able to carry or hold at that time. That when you know what you call saturation in chemistry. Once it's saturated, the cloud will not be able to hold much rain or more rain. And then these ones that were there, they condense and come down as rainfall. This one happens, like I told you, in the windward area, they have rainfall. While the leeward side, that is the shelter side, ones that have a little a back against or side against a wind, the side that wind does not affect, they have little or no rainfall. This one doesn't happen both on leeward and windward. That is it, or one of the differences between the conventional and the orographic rainfall. Take note of that. And then this one happens, like I told you, at the windward side, while the leeward have little or no rainfall. Then we need to look at the other one, or that type of rainfall, which is cyclonic rainfall. There's another name for it, frontal cyclonic or frontal rainfall. This one is formed by the meeting of two air masses with different origin and characteristics. That is just like a boy coming like this and another boy coming like this. I've discussed confluence with you, meeting point of two rivers. You cannot tell me the characteristics of River Niger coming will be the same as the characteristics of what will happen at the confluence center, where River Niger and River Benue meet. The characteristics of River Niger will be joined with the characteristics of River Benue. You understand what I mean by that? So also we are discussing here two air masses of different origin and characteristics. They meet. Warm and moist one, they rise above the cold and dense one. The dense ones are the wet, the ones that have weight. Then we'll talk about the warm and moist one. The little one, they go, the dense one, the one that have little weight, they go up. Then the moist one, the ones that are heavy, they go down. So the warm and moist one, that is, they are hot and they are light. That is what we mean by that. They go above the ones that are cold and heavy. Then that is the type of, the air separates now. The light one and warm, they go up. The cold one and they are heavy, they are below. So absence of the warm over the cold, that is the warm one go over the cold one. As it ascends, as it's climbing, the effect of the temperature of the colder one makes it to have a reduction in its temperature too. Just like you are cold, you want to run across a mountain that is, sorry, you are hot, you want to run across a mountain that is cold. That mountain that is cold will also have effect on your temperature. So the coldness of that mountain or human being will reduce your own temperature too. So it lowers the temperature while they go. And so cooling and condensation take place. And then the rain begins to come. This one is opposite, almost opposite in terms of time of the conventional rainfall. It happens for a long time, unlike the conventional rainfall that happens shortly, and I've told you normally afternoon time. Then we need to look at them. These are Nigerian mean annual rainfall. That's how they are, just like I've explained to you the other time. 80 to 85 Farad. This you are seeing here, this area, just like you have here. These ones that have 70 to 75, these ones are here. Have them that looks like carpet. That's what you are seeing here. Then this one under 70. These ones under 70, they are the ones that have less rainfall. You can see them here. So the whole things are used to give their symbols, or used to interpret the areas. And they can see Sokoto too. Yeah, Kano is there. Ilorin is here. That's Kwara State. Around north, that's the north central area. You remember this way, River Niger, this River Benue meeting here. This is Kogi State. Is also north central. Then Ilorin is Kwara State within the same geopolitical zones or zone. Then what is wind? Wind is defined as air in motion. We're also going to look at the tides, air in motion that runs, comes with full force, not just the one that touches you cool and then leave you. That's what we mean by that. It's always it's called air in motion. We have the types of wind, the southwest trade wind or tropical maritime air mass. That is the name, tropical maritime air mass or southwest trade wind. This one blows across Atlantic Ocean. I think I've in one or two ways last time discussed this with you. From the Atlantic Ocean, it comes to the southwest. That is the area we are in Lagos, southwest. It goes across that. That is why it is called southwest trade wind. It comes from the Atlantic Ocean and blows that in that direction. That is what you are saying here. If this is from the south, then to the west here, that is southwest. That is what we call, that's why it is called southwest trade wind. This wind is warm and wet. It is warm and wet. So it is the one that carries rainfall, make us to say wet season. It is the period we are now, wet season. We'll discuss the seasons later in the day. It is one that carries rain, that's called wet season. It doesn't go with problem, it carries rain. There's another one called the north, this another one. Tropical continental, this is the one I've shown to you. This northwest, southwest trade wind. Then we have another one, northeast trade wind. That's the second, northeast trade wind. This N and E, you see, S and E means north and E, east. Northeast trade wind is also called tropical continental air mass. That is northeast trade wind. This one blows across Sahara Desert. From Sahara Desert, it brings about cold, dust, harmattan. It occurs around November and February. That is what you see that say there's harmattan. You know, in the harmattan, you have cold, you have dust. The wind that comes from, that is the northern part of Nigeria, across Sahara Desert, close to the jet there, comes to towards the east. It is called northeast trade wind or tropical continental air mass. These are the types of wind that we have. You were being sent, or you have been sent all these things in your note. I will also show to you how it is. That is the northeast. This one from the north towards the east. That is what we mean. That's the wind as it blows. That's how you have it in the two of them. Then we need to look at, we also need to look at the other one, equatorial east lakes. This one, it blows around equator from the west. From the west around equator. When this one cuts below the southwest trade wind, when it cuts it, when it goes above it, it causes rainfall with light and thunder. This one is the last one that you need to look at for the day. Then we also need to look at the seasons in Nigeria. In course of my wind, I was talking about wet season. We have two seasons in Nigeria. That is rainy season or wet season, and then dry season. The rainy season or wet season occur between March and November. That is the rainy season or wet season occur between the period of, that one starts close to, if you have, let me put it this way, if between the period of March we are, then it takes place April, May, June, July, August, September, October. October, the water or the rain begins to go down, and then November it stops. That's what we mean by between March and November. It is associated with high temperature. During rainy season, that's the period we are. During rainy season, begin to have high temperature, heat. This period now we have heat. Then we have rainfall and low pressure. The wind that blows this period is wet season, and the wind that blows is the prevailing wind is wet season and it's southwest trade wind. That is the wind that brings about rainfall from the south towards the west. That is the one I've discussed with you before now. It is the southwest trade wind that blows during the rainy season. There is always rainfall during that rain season, and I've told you between March and November. Then from November, I begin to experience another season called the dry season. That one will occur between November and February, very short period. But it's associated with low temperature. You begin to feel cold, absence of rainfall, no rainfall that time, then high pressure. Harmattan is associated with it. That is the east trade wind is the prevailing wind that blows that time, carrying harmattan with dust and cold. That is what we mean by it. These are the two types of seasons in Nigeria, and with their characteristics also. Then the types of climate, we also need to look at it. We have our self-climate is the weather atmospheric condition of a place for a long period of time. We have different types of climate in Nigeria. As one of the things we look at in your objectives for this lesson, this first one is called sub-equatorial climate. Equatorial climate is found in south, like Warri, Lagos, where we are. It has double maximum of rainfall. I have discussed with you last time too what is called the single maximum and double maximum of rainfall. That is having two types of rain within the year. At a place, at a period, you have a break. That's why it is called double maximum. It has some things or good side or bad side on agriculture. For example, double cropping. Because you have double maximum, the first time between March, that period that the rain starts, you can plant. Then when you have the break, you also stop. Around September or so, we have the second side, you can also plant. That's effect. Then east thunder that it brings helps in soil leaching. That is what we mean by that. So we also need to look at the second type, that is tropical hinterland or wet climate. Tropical hinterland or wet climate. This one is found in forest area like Enugu, Ibadan, and so many others. It has double maximum of rainfall in the south and single maximum in the north. I've also discussed this. They have only one period of rainfall in that year. That's the single maximum. The rainfall, moderate rainfall that happen in north because single maximum, it gives rise to the growth of yam, millet, and all those things that they plant there. That is good for the agriculture that they do in those sides. That is talking about the north with the single maximum of rainfall. Then we have the next one, tropical continental or dry climate. This one is found, it's also called the Sudan climate. It is found in the north around Sokoto, talking about the northwest, Kano, and some other areas within there. It has long period of little or no rainfall. This kind of climate, what do you think can be grown in this kind of soil that is in this kind of climate and in that area where you have little or no rainfall? Little rainfall leads to irrigation. That is an effect. There is no water. So you begin to do, you know what is irrigation? Artificial supply of water to farmland. Begin to do that. It also favors growth of grain crops. That is an advantage too. That's what we call it effect. Grain crops like rice and so many others, it favors the growth. Because when rainfall is too much, it can destroy the growth of those type of crops. That is what we mean by that. Then lastly, we need to look at the high plateau climate. The high plateau climate is found around highlands like Jos, Obudu, and etc. It has heavy rainfall and high relative humidity. Heavy rainfall. Then its effect on agriculture it encourages the growth of trees because it's heavy rainfall and frost. Absence of pests like fly that promotes livestock production because in place you have fly and other pests, the production of livestock, it will kill animals. So the fly can kill animals very well. So we will look at where we started from and some of the things we've discussed. Remember, we are discussing the climate of Nigeria. We said climate is the weather atmospheric condition of a place over a long period of time. We talked about the types of climate. We've also talked about wind, types of wind, the orographic, the conventional, cyclonic or frontal, and other rainfall, types of rainfall too. Discuss rainfall. And we talked about the wind, types of wind. We talked about the northeast trade wind, the one that comes from the north towards the east, then that brings about harmattan. We talked about the southwest trade wind, the one that starts from the Atlantic Ocean, bringing rainfall and so many other. Then this climate, to talk about the Sudan climate, dry climate, wet climate, and some of the effects they have in agriculture. And those areas, like the dry climate, where you have little or no rainfall, and so many others. We will stop here for your week 4. We'll see you next time by the grace of God. Thank you and stay safe. God bless.